Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where we take trade paperbacks and single issues and we break them down into digestible bites for you to understand. And then we read it dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by the respective companies. Now, if you didn't watch the last video in this series, allow me to catch you up. Damian Wayne, Batman's son, has died, and while attempting to grieve, the bodies of Damian and his mother Talia have been taken, their coffins lifted right out of the ground. Batman has journeyed the world looking for their bodies, and looking for a manner in which he can revive Damian. He refused to accept that there was nothing he could do in a world where superheroes come back to life on a regular basis. After a good number of months, we are now standing in front of Ra's al Ghul, Damian's grandfather. He's about to dunk both Talia and Damian in a special Lazarus pit, one that will wipe their memories out and allow Ra's to tell them anything he wants. He intends to use a special mystical crystal that Talia found on her journeys to power this Lazarus pit. Batman is standing there ready to face off against him with his friend Frankenstein. Ra's plan is to raise both Damian and Talia and have them stand at his side as he defeats the Dark Knight once and for all, forcing him to look on his own son's betrayal. But Batman tells him not to do this. Lazarus fever combined with a memory wipe could potentially just be creating monsters. Frankenstein and Batman go right in trying to stop Ra's, and while Frankenstein distracts the soldiers of the League of Assassins, Batman just grabs Damian's coffin and he runs back to the Batplane, and he waits there for Frankenstein to catch up. Well, it doesn't take long for Ra's to throw Frankenstein at Batman and challenges Batman to end this. So Batman tells Ra's, if he ever shows up to take Damian again, Batman will kill him, and he will ensure Ra's does not come back again. So Ra's begins his fight with Batman, stating, normally I would take this as an empty threat, but today, I believe you. They go toe to toe until Batman gets on top of Ra's, and he's about to kill him right there and then, when suddenly a boom tube opens up revealing Glorious Godfrey. You see, the crystal that Ra's was going to use to revive Talia and Damian, the one whose purpose was unknown to Ra's, is actually a chaos crystal from the planet Apocalypse, the planet where Darkseid lives. And they've come back to collect. Batman and Ra's decide to end their fight to inform Godfrey that the crystal is contained in the coffins of their children, and they will not be letting anybody take those bodies. Godfrey just laughs, as he hoped that this would be a fast trip, but oh well. The fight begins, but this time it's Ra's and Batman teaming up against Glorious Godfrey. The battle is intense, and no matter how hard Batman and Ra's try, they're losing members of their army. Eventually, the parademons say screw this, and they fly in grabbing the coffins up. But Batman and Ra's both jump on their children's coffins, and they get carried into the sky. Batman begins to beat on the parademon holding Damian's coffin, and he stabs it in the eyes to bring it down. And it probably would have worked, but he did it while being over a ravine, so they both fell deep inside, hitting the bottom hard. Once he comes to his senses, he reaches into the coffin and he pulls out the chaos crystal that Ra's put in there, and he looks into it. He sees so many things, younger versions of the League, other versions of the League. He can see into everything and anything, and due to this, he's lost in thought, giving Godfrey enough time to arrive and knock him onto the ground. He takes the crystal and he tells Batman, no one can see into the Chaos Crystal except for Darkseid himself. They then decide to take Damian's coffin along with them since it has a faint residue of the Chaos Crystal, and he takes out a gun and sticks it to Batman's head and tells him, look on the bright side, you get to see Glorious Godfrey's merciful face in your last moments. But before he can finish, the Justice League arrives and blasts him off of Batman. Shazam lands and tells Batman, don't worry, I'm here to save you, we got your signal. And Godfrey sees that he's outmatched and he begins to retreat, taking the Chaos Crystal and Damian's coffin with him. At the last second, Batman throws his grappling hook onto the coffin and he's getting pulled into Darkseid with his son's body. But Shazam thinks he's helping and he zips by, cutting Batman free. Batman falls to the ground defeated and Shazam lands next to him and says, hey, I saved Batman's ass twice today. So Batman turns to him and starts punching him in the face. They have Robin's body and you cut my only tether. Cyborg steps in and stops Batman, and everyone tries to convince him to just let this go. This is crazy. Robin's gone, and going to Apocalypse is suicide. But Batman turns back to them and just yells, I am going to Apocalypse, and I am going to bring Robin's body back. But Aquaman actually turns to him and tells him, we're the front line, Batman. We just can't go off-world. The argument isn't done there, though. Batman tells the League that they're delusional if they think that Darkseid isn't planning something, and they need to go stop him. The League knows that this is not to stop Darkseid. This is to recover Robin. And in response to the League arguing with him, Batman shorts out Cyborg's teleporting device and he teleports himself to the Watchtower. Well, the Justice League catches up quickly and they stop Batman, telling him that he's crazy. He just can't walk into Apocalypse. And he asks, why not? There's a little boy who's been gifted the powers by a wizard right there and a woman who is the god of war standing next to me. Why can't I just go get my son's body back? Why can't I find a way to revive him? And the League tells him to think about this. He just needs to think about what he's doing. So Batman leaves, and he returns to the Batcave, and he calls in the entire Bat family. And he explains to them his plan. He explains that he is going to Apocalypse to get his son back, and he's going to get Robin back into the family. At first, the family tells him that he can't do it. He won't come back. And he agrees. The chances of him returning are low, and that's why he's asked them to come here, so that he can let them know that Gotham is in their hands now. After they argue with him a little more, he leaves them. He's going to do this. And he sneaks back into the Watchtower one last time before he goes on to his suicide mission, so he can get his super suit, the Hellbat suit. This suit was made by the entire Justice League to give Batman an edge over enemies as strong as Darkseid, if he were to ever return. But the only downside is that using it will actually kill Batman slowly, as it uses his very metabolism to power it up. He's only supposed to use it as a last-ditch effort, and if he spends too much time on Apocalypse, he may die there. After Lex helps him set up the suit because, as Lex puts it, Batman and him are the only two normal humans, and he isn't gonna stop Batman. Batman sets off to Apocalypse to get his son back. He knows that there's no friendlies there, and he wastes no time grabbing the nearest parademon and going, Godfrey, where? With knowledge in hand, he takes off deeper onto this hellish planet, but he already begins to feel pain, and he retracts his left forearm gauntlet to see the suit is already killing him. Meanwhile, back in the Batcave, Red Hood, Red Robin, and Batgirl are already trying to figure out a way to follow Bruce. They aren't just gonna leave him there alone. This isn't going to happen like this. So they trick Cyborg into coming to the Batcave under the pretense that the Bat computer has a virus and they need him to purge it. But while he's just there to help, they EMP his body, knocking him out cold. And they all suit up in special armor with the Robin symbol on it, and they hack into Cyborg, launching a boom tube to Apocalypse. They are going to go after Bruce, and they are all coming back. But just as they enter the boom tube, Cyborg wakes up and jumps in after them. Where the hell do you think you're going, he declares, blindly following. Meanwhile, back in Apocalypse, Batman is already tearing the minions of Darkseid apart one by one, until he finally gets to the front of Godfrey, and Godfrey shoots his gun at Batman, which just ricochets off his suit. If your colorful friends hadn't arrived the last time we met, I would have smeared your brains on my immortal boots. But Batman grabs Godfrey by the face and jumps out the window as he begins to suck the life force out of Godfrey to power his suit up. And he tells him, "Take me to my son and the Chaos Shard now!" While this is going on, the Bat family lands on the other side of the planet and land right in front of the many demons and minions of this planet, with Cyborg right behind them. Red Robin looks at him. "Cyborg, we didn't want you," but Cyborg stops him. "Well, I'm here, so let's just skip the finger pointing and save Batman." But right at this moment, both Batman and the Bat family can see where Damian is, because the minions of Darkseid are trying to channel the immense power through the shard in Damian's body in order to destroy entire planets. Turning back from the giant explosion, Batman asks Godfrey again, "Where is my son?" And Godfrey tells him, "Kalibek has him. He has put your son and the shard into a special weapon, a Chaos Cannon." So Batman smashes Godfrey's face onto the ground. Go be gloriously unconscious. And as Batman takes off for the sky to go towards the cannon, the suit warns him. Vital signs in flux, alien bacteria detected, metabolic consumption rate escalated, depletion hastened. But he ignores all of that, and he races at lightning speed towards the cannon, flying straight through the various Apocalypse ships that are patrolling the planet. But now he's alerted the entire planet to his whereabouts, and he sees an entire army approaching him. And he just turns to them and he says, "Bring it on!" as he lands and he begins to tear through every single one of Darkseid's troops. And they all yell out, "Whoever you are, prepare to be incinerated!" And Batman just looks at them. "You wanna know who I am? I'm Batman!" He goes through them all and he takes out all of the anger and pent-up frustration of a man who has lost his son, of a man who has traveled the entire world looking for an answer, of a man who had to come here to retrieve his son's body. You don't mess with Batman's family. And then Batgirl reaches out. "Batman, enough. We're all here to help you." And he looks at them, relieved. "Had a change of heart, didn't you, Cyborg?" And Cyborg just shrugs it off. something like that. He turns back to the family. This has all been a part of my plan. I'm trying to get Darkseid's attention. I need to face off with Darkseid to bring Damian back from the dead. And Red Hood looks around at what appears to be a massive amount of death and destruction, and he goes, "Went a little Red Lantern, didn't ya?" But Batman shakes his head. "No, there were no fatalities. I've been stunning them all, and we're gonna keep doing that." So as they take off for the Chaos Cannon to get Damian back, Batman comments how he likes the new Robin-styled uniforms, and Red Hood says, "Thanks, it was my idea." And Batgirl just yells at him, "No, it wasn't!" Batman breaks through the window of the Chaos Cannon and he screams, "Where's my son?" Kalibek isn't one to be trifled with though, as he jumps right into combat with Batman, while Cyborg and the family deactivate the cannon and get Damian's body. But Batman is so juiced up by this suit now that he just takes Kalibek's weapon right out of his hands and he beats him with his own tools. Just in time, because Darkseid has now arrived. "About time you showed up," Batman says, turning to him. "I am so happy to see you again, Batman," Darkseid says to him. Batman throws a punch at him, but with one swing, Darkseid destroys half the cannon, forcing Damian's body to fall into a pit and knocking Batman over. Batman takes off to get his hands on the coffin, and he grabs it while yelling for Cyborg to open us a boom tube. "I have one last thing I need to do before we can go home." And just as he takes an upswing and starts to head back in the direction that he needs to go in, Darkseid steps on his head. Darkseid looks at the Chaos Shard in Batman's hands and he realizes, this is all over a Chaos Shard. What did it show you to make you risk unimaginable horror to your body and soul in my hands? Why do you Earthlings insist on deluding yourselves into thinking you are gods when we already exist? And Batman breaks free of the hold, yelling, "Unimaginable horrors haven't been left to my imagination." But beyond their battle, the boom tube that Cyborg and Batgirl have been working on opens up, allowing a doorway back home. Darkseid looks at Batman and he says, "Your compatriots have left you." And then Batman looks, challenging Darkseid. "Then what are you waiting for? Kill me!" And Darkseid launches his Omega beams at Batman, and he blocks it with the Chaos Shard, powering up the Chaos Shard. He then diverts all power from the suit into his chest cannon, blasting the bat signal into Darkseid and the wall behind him, knocking Darkseid over. Batman takes off with the boom tube to join Cyborg and the Bat family, and they all boom tube back to the Batcave. Darkseid sees them leave and he tells his troops to back off. "Let them go. I'll be seeing them soon enough." Batman lands on the ground of the Batcave, and with nothing left as his suit is about to kill him, he screams, "Eject the helmet and gloves!" Batgirl is yelling for him to take off the rest of the suit before it finishes him, but he ignores her, and he takes the Chaos Shard and he jams it into Damian's body. An explosion of power goes off through everything, and it blows all the dirt, grime, and the rest of the Hellbat suit off of Batman. But it works. Damian opens his eyes, and he looks up. "Father?" Bruce smiles as he realizes that he's done it, and he embraces his son at last, with the entire Bat family looking on in shock that this even worked. But before they can rejoice any further, Kalibek comes through the boom tube. "You made me look like a fool in front of my father!" And Damian jumps forward and he punches Kalibek so hard that he knocks his teeth out. He then shows super speed, super strength, and after Damian beats the snot out of Kalibek, Batman uses the Batjet to push Kalibek through the boom tube so the Cyborg can shut it down. Damian gets all sappy, saying that he missed Alfred, and even Red Robin, Batgirl, and Red Hood. And then he turns to Batman, his father, and he says, "Seems I got powers, huh, father?" Everyone is happy that Damian's back, and Bruce, Damian, and Alfred, they all go to the grave sites of Damian and Talia to reflect. And the bat signal hits the sky. Alfred just sighs. Can't we even have one night off? But Batman grims, because Batman and Robin will always be needed, and they're right here. And that's how Batman got Robin back. Thank you guys for joining me for this one. This is one of my favorite story arcs, at least one of my most favorite recent story arcs. If you want to chat about this story or any others, please follow us on Twitter at Comicstorian. And don't forget, we have two other channels that we work on, a gaming variety channel known as Eligible Monster, and a list channel that just gives you generic lists about all of the extra stuff that we find in our research, known as List Bomb. Both can be found in the description down below, and I will see you guys next time right here at Comicstorian.